I tried to have this ready, and I promise you it just wasn't going to happen today. So, hello everyone. How you doing? As you might have noticed, I took a week off. I needed some time. We all have those days where you need to take a break. And I did. And now here we are. So I'm working on something on the side that hopefully will be really exciting for everybody. And I don't know when I'm going to release this little project of mine, but I'm going to try it out, see how it's going. If I like the way it's turning out, then I will more than likely share it in a few months once it's kind of more wrapped up and put together with a nice little bow. But for now, we continue on with the lives, and I will try my best to continue on a fairly regular schedule. I know the holidays are coming up, so I may or may not be posting during those times. We'll see. I'm leaving it open. I'm going to be spending a lot of my time with a lot of family, and that's going to be really exciting, so we'll see how that goes. But for today, I already forgot what I wrote for my topic. My journey is my own. There we go. It's not that early. My brain is just all over the place today. It's going to be interesting. Anyway, my journey is my own. I want to talk about this because it can be really stressful as a person in general to kind of go through life. I feel like it's been a lot more frustrating for the younger generation for a lot of reasons that I've talked about on my channel, and the cats are still running around and driving me nuts. But back to what I was saying about, I've talked about kind of the struggles that millennials are facing and kind of what it's like a little bit to be like us in the workforce as well as in life. And it's hard not to compare how we're doing now, like what I'm doing in my life, where I'm at, to what our parents were doing in their lives, to what our grandparents were doing at this point in our lives. And it feels disappointing sometimes. I know my parents had a house by this point. They had kids. My dad had a really good job. My mom got to stay at home. And they had 2 cars and were doing great. And the cats are very distracted, so I'm going to probably close the door on them. Out! Come on! Yes, I also wanted to show off my mad cat herding skills. So, okay, comparing to what my parents had, or comparing to what my grandparents had. And it's hard because you aren't sure how to measure your success, so you measure against other people. And here's the thing, success is different for everyone. So I'm here trying to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. I'm married now, so we got through that part of my life, and I think it was a little frustrating for a while trying to date and figure out what that part of my life was going to look like. And I've mentioned before in another video that one of my biggest things was I wanted to be a mom someday. And part of that for me was either figuring out if I was going to meet somebody or meet somebody. So doing it alone, doing it with somebody else. And it was really frustrating because I really did want to do it with somebody else, and it just didn't look like it was happening. Part of it was because, like I mentioned, by this age, my parents already were married for a while, have a house, kids, all of that stuff, and it's hard not to compare it to them. But yes, it sounds like I was rushing myself, but I wasn't. I was doing it on my own time. I was just impatient with myself. There's a difference. I wasn't rushing, I was just impatient. And it was frustrating and difficult. And looking back now, I feel like I should have just enjoyed it more. But I guess that's why they say hindsight is 20/20. But now we're here, married, living life. Just, I get to redecorate the house every now and then. If you notice, the curtains aren't black anymore. But like figuring out what I'm doing right now. And as I mentioned before, I have a part-time job, so that means that I'm only working some hours, and it's not a regular part-time, so I'm not consistently getting the same hours every week. It just means that I get to go in when I have a visit and then stay home when I don't. And trainings and all of the things in between that I am invited to participate in. So that means I still have a lot of time on my hands. And part of that for me is figuring out what I'm doing around the house again, and things are changing here as life does. And so figuring out how all of this is working now for us, and it's frustrating because part of me is still trying to measure my success against other people. And what's really interesting lately, I've noticed, is that I'm measuring against not one but two people and mixing it together. So part of me has always kind of wanted to do what my mom did, which was stay at home, raise kids, and she, oh my gosh, I mention it a lot, but I thought she did an amazing job. I'm not biased at all, obviously, but I thought she was just amazing. But I also find myself comparing myself to my dad. So he had this amazing job. He was able to afford a house and cars and his family's lifestyle. And we weren't poor. We were doing well. And he did a really good job, and he worked really hard to do that. But he also started his career off really early. And part of me is a little frustrated that I haven't started my career already. And then I start to say, okay, well, maybe it's because time difference. And then comes the new doozy in my life, which is comparing myself to my husband. He's been working with his company for the last more or less 5 years. And he's been promoted, and he's doing well on his career track, and I'm very proud of him. But for me, it still feels a little frustrating because closer in age, kind of went through some of the similar millennial generational things, and he's doing well. Part of it is field. His field is in the sciences and chemistry and all of that, and that's, I feel like it's a little easier, but I'm sure he would disagree with me. But it's hard not to compare and feel like maybe I'm failing in this aspect of not having all of the things yet. Yes, I'm still young. Yes, I still have time. My career could start tomorrow. It can start in next year, 5 years, 10 years. And it would still be as big an accomplishment as it would be now. But part of that stress and frustration is not only put on by myself, by other people in the media and older generations complaining that. And it's frustrating. And it's difficult. And it's aggravating sometimes because they make it sound like we're not trying. And we are. I speak for myself and for a lot of my friends who are in the same generation. We're trying really hard to figure out what we're supposed to be doing right now. The thing is, it's a little different for all of us. I was told, go to college, get a degree, and that'll guarantee you a job. Here I am. I've had lots of jobs. A lot of them are like more along the server industry that don't require a degree. One of them was borderline, maybe a degree, maybe not a degree. One of them was definitely a degree, and that one was very frustrating and felt like one of the reasons why I think we need to be teaching millennials more about jobs. And now I'm in this part-time position trying to do well with it and earn enough money to like make a little nest egg for savings and all of that stuff. But it doesn't change that I still feel looked down on because I'm not doing as well as other people. And I know I shouldn't, because everybody's different, everybody starts differently, and life is different for all of us. But it doesn't change that we keep pushing all of these ideas of what we're supposed to be in life right now on people. Whether or not that's what they want, whether or not that's what's good for them. And I think we need to stop, because it's not healthy for anybody to have to go through life thinking about those sorts of things. So I am trying to do well in my life, to contribute, to be successful. But that looks different for me than it does for other people. And And I'm also trying to figure out what I'm supposed to be expecting from a workplace. Am I supposed to expect to work more than my assigned hours? Am I expected to hustle harder than everyone else just because I'm younger? Am I supposed to expect to accept the lowest pay possible because I'm entry level despite the fact that I have experience and a degree? Should I expect healthcare? Good, bad? Should I expect respect? There's all of these things that sound like easy, obvious questions. Yes, you should be respected. Yes, you should take, you should have good healthcare. You should wait until you get a good offer. But here's the thing, not everybody has that luxury. I got lucky because I'm living with my husband and he makes enough money that I don't have to take any job that comes to me. But when I was living by myself and I'd gotten into a bad career choice and I needed out and I needed a new job fast, I didn't have the luxury to pick what I took. I had to take any job and I had to work whatever they were going to pay me. And that sucks. Plain and simple. Because despite the fact that I was working for a few months, I still needed my parents to help me out with bills and stuff because I wasn't making enough. Yeah, I was being paid above minimum wage, but minimum wage doesn't cover anybody's lifestyle. And I'm not saying that I was, poor, but I also wasn't doing great. I wasn't trying to buy like filet mignon every day and lobsters and all these very expensive food items. I was trying to go to the grocery store and like stretch every dollar. I was looking at prices, comparing, okay, this one's a little bit more expensive, but this one comes with more stuff. And I was doing my absolute best to make sure that every dollar I spent, I could not have spent it better. That everything that I purchased was going to last, was going to be used, was going to keep me healthy if I could afford it, or at least kept me fed. I was trying really, really hard to make sure that I was doing okay. And I wasn't promoted. I didn't find my career. I wasn't really even acknowledged. One of the jobs that I worked the hardest and the longest and I thought would kickstart a career, I did not get acknowledged for the level of work or the amount of work that I was doing until after I left. There was nowhere to go. That's what I was expected to continue to do at, I think 14 an hour. I was expected to be grateful for 14 because I had been making 12 previously. Here's the thing. 14 is roughly 28K a year. Earned over again that I should be expecting 40K a year. That's about 12K less. And that was somehow supposed to pay for my apartment, for my bills, for my food. I was supposed to be able to make a living off of this, and it was not going to happen. And that's the things that I don't think we talk about enough in our world, is how hard we can try and how this world just keeps cheering us up and spitting us out. And even while I was in this position, I wasn't happy with it. I tried my best. I was still applying for other jobs. I applied every day. I applied for at least one job. I was applying like crazy. I was updating my resume. I tried to change the format. I tried to change what it looked like. I tried to change what was on it. I was like rearranging things, taking stuff off, putting stuff on. Like I was constantly trying to do what I needed to do to get a career that I could be proud of, that I could bring in a healthy enough amount of money that I could have supported myself. Now I got lucky right around the end because by that point, me and my husband had already met, we'd already dated, we got engaged, we were already planning to move in together, so I wasn't going to have to pay bills anymore. But if that hadn't happened, I'd probably still be there. I probably couldn't do these videos, and I might either still be struggling or I might have just gone back to doing temp jobs, hoping and praying that somebody offered me a better job than what I was getting. Maybe I would have found it. Maybe I wouldn't have. And I'm not saying this so I get sympathy. I'm saying this so that people understand that it's not as easy as y'all make it out to be sometimes. By y'all, I mean all of the people who are constantly, try harder, do more. What more do you want me to do? I can't go banging down the doors of all of the people who do the hiring, because, giving an example, like HEB is a really great company to go work with, and they're known for having really great work environments and all that stuff in their corporate offices. But I still can't go into their offices and be like, hey, I need a job. Can you give me a job? Have you seen my resume yet? That's not how it works anymore, unfortunately. And I've heard a lot of people tell me that before, that they won't hire people unless they go banging on their door. I can't do that. There is no door to bang on. I have to go online, and I've done it before where I walked into people's offices and buildings, and for restaurants too, and I say, hey, I'm looking for a job, and they still tell me, go online, fill out an application, we'll call you if we think you're good enough or qualified and whatever. I can go into buildings today and hand out my resume, and they'll throw it away and tell me, go online, fill it out, we'll call you if you're qualified. And so when you tell us things like that, like, just go banging on the doors, just go be persistent, we can't. If I really did genuinely give it everything I had to go to find the door to knock on and knocked on it, I'd probably have security kick me out. Because that's the way it works today. It's not the way it used to be that I just walked into somebody's store and said, hey, I need a job, do you need help? Because that's not how it works anymore. And we need to acknowledge that things are changing so that we can help change things for the better. Yes, I get it that there is hundreds of applicants. I can apply for hundreds of jobs in another city, another state, in another country without leaving this room. So that just makes that many more applicants for every job that's out there. And yeah, I get that it's really hard to filter through all of that, but we need to get better about figuring out how to help each other out. Because I'm sure somewhere somebody needs somebody that does exactly what I do. But there's no way for me to know that. There's no way for me to know if it's here, if it's next door, if it's in the next city, if it's in the next state, next country. If I can do that job from my house or I can't. And there's all these other factors that we don't always take into consideration. And it's hard. So the whole point of this is we all have our own journeys, and we need to stop being so judgmental and critical about where we're at in it. Because everyone's trying their best where they're at. And if you're in a rut right now or you have given up, don't do it. Keep trying, because it's not going to get better. It's not going to change if you give up. It's going to stay the same. Thanks for listening.